All right, I was asked to do a demonstration, and it's kind of left up to me what I wanted to do. I hate to do demos when I'm not going to turn anything on a lathe today because I can't do a piece, my work I can't do from start to finish, so to me it's useless. Everybody kind of knows, you know, what I've done in the past, so I'm going to try to use this demonstration to cover all the bases for everybody, from beginners to the advanced turners that we have, and hopefully I'll have a little information for everybody. When I joined the club, probably, probably 18 years ago, there were certain rules and certain mystiques and purists that said, oh no, you have to use this tool this way, and oh no, you have to have this shape. Oh, it must be this and it must be that. It's got to be thin. You know, there was certain rules that you had to follow. Well, woodworking has evolved to almost there are no rules. There's certain things that you don't have to adhere to them, but they will work for you, and most of that is form. I don't care what kind of piece you turn, if you have the correct form, it will look good. And I'll demonstrate that a little bit later on. I just want to start out with just some of the basic premises of wood turning and things that you need to have. And I'll start off with everybody's got different tools that they like. I'm not even going to go through the tools. You basically have scrapers and you have cutting tools. So you either like to use scrapers, and you really should learn to use them both because they come into play. We had one of our past presidents, a few guys will know him, Al Gruntwagon, but I can talk about him. And he was one of the purists. And you had to do, he didn't know how to use a scraper, I don't think. Everything had to be cut, and you have to use the bevel and you have to use this. And at that point in the club, I didn't know how to use it. I was just scraping everything, and stuff came out all right, but that's one of the good things about the club, is that everybody learns from everybody else, and nobody here's got any secrets. And that's what's great about the organization. We had one guy that came here at one meeting and said, we had a show and tell, and somebody asked him, well, how'd you do that? He said, well, I can't tell you. And our president at the time, I'm not even going to mention this guy's name, but the old timers will know. They said, if you don't come back here at the next meeting and explain to everybody how you did this, don't come back. The guy never came back.
Elliptical turning.
The guy never came back.
He said there was going to be an article in the magazine.
It was being published, but our president at that time was a little gruff and crude, and he says, if you don't explain to everybody how you do this, don't come back. And I don't think the guy never did come back.
He wasn't a little crude, he was on.
So the club really has evolved, and anybody that has any input while I'm speaking, I'm welcome to any input, what you have to say. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to miss covering certain things, but so if you have a question, feel free to ask at any time. We're going to start out with chucks, and a few things that I have to say is about chucks is, you have a faceplate, put as many screws as you can get on it. And don't use long screws, use short screws. So now you can go much closer to your faceplate and don't waste a lot of your material. If you have something that you don't want to waste any wood, just drill as many holes as you can get on a faceplate, and I use short screws. I'll only go in 1/8 of an inch, and if you have a lot of screws, it will hold. I turn some of my big pieces. You guys seen the big pieces I've had? I've had pieces like this on this faceplate. Very, very rarely use a faceplate bigger than this. So, again, that's me, that's not the gospel. You can do whatever you want. I'm just showing you what I do. Basically, this was a glue block. I can use this 4 or 5 times. And when we'll talk about gluing things up, you can use whatever glue is your preference. It really doesn't matter. I like to use the hot glue on certain things. Just a craft glue gun. What I do is I will take a Bunsen burner torch, preheat the piece, and if you're doing wet wood, you definitely have to heat it. The glue gun does not work good on moist wood. So take and preheat that, and then you put the glue on, it'll help it smear really well when it's preheated. Put it on there, 10 minutes later you can turn. After it's put on a piece like this, I'll go around the outside perimeter and just put a little seal on it. And I think I've only had one piece come off all the times that I've used it. So that works very well. I did a lot of my turning when I first started in the club. Again, not knowing any better, I would use the 3-jaw chuck. I'm not that it's a bad thing or it's a good thing. It scares the hell out of some people with these things. You know, when these are out, that they're flailing around. I would suggest you take a little grinder and a file and just round the edges off. You know, you might whack your knuckles, but you're not gonna cut yourself. Jack Bass was deathly afraid of this. You know, deathly afraid of it. The reason that I use this, it's pretty versatile. You can take and grab on the inside, obviously, but if you have a bigger piece, you take the jaws and you turn them around, and then you can step out and grab a larger piece. And the reason I started using this chuck was with my the stave bowl construction, which I'll get into a little bit later. But you know, you have different. You have the Nova chuck. That's also people guys use. I don't think I didn't bring my Nova chuck.
It's on the menu.
Is it? Yeah, it's on the mini lid. People that are not familiar with the Nova chuck, you can grab again inside and outside with that. You have to turn a tenon on it. The thing with the 3-jaw that I like is you turn it around, you can grab something pretty big on the outside, and that's what I do with my stave bowls. I'll show you. I grab it on the outside. Again, gluing it up with a glue block, you can use the CA glue, you can use the Type-On, you can use any type of glue that you. I like to use the craft glue because it sets up very quickly. You know, 10 minutes after you put it on, you can start turning. The CA glue, you got to let it sit. Yes.
I got a question for you. On your glue blocks, do you use any kind of concave, you know, a little concave in the middle or no?
With the glue gun, you can go a little concave because you know it will sit on very, very flush, and it will hold because the glue will take up a lot of the gaps. But if you're using the CA glue or the Type-On, you want to have it pretty flat. You know, you're just taking, you know, while it's on the lathe, you just turn it and then just put a straight edge across it. It's very easy to tell how straight you have it. I will concave it a little bit if if I'm using that glue, because you know it'll sit very flat with that glue. But yeah, it has to be very flat if you're going to use the CA glue, because that doesn't take up any gaps at all.